don't scare us. I get up, I go hard like I'm George Harris. Make plays, break lanes, push weight, break chains, go hard, kick ass, take names. Being good, I'ma be great. I'm gonna carry that weight. Earn my stripes, my merits. I gotta go hard like I'm George Harris. Yeah.
Welcome to Fight Night Flashbacks. I have a special guest in the house. It is Michael Chandler, the great Michael Chandler, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Mike, we're gonna go over a few of your key fights. You have so many fights; it was tough to pick. I want to start with this first one. It was your last Bellator fight against Benson Henderson.
Yep.
Because I feel like this was such a pivotal moment in your career, because this is the fight where, you know, you lose this one, kind of dictates where you're going to go a little bit.
The rest of my life.
Yeah.
The rest of my life.
This was
the most, this was the most pressure I've ever felt. Not just the fact that it was the last fight of my Bellator contract, choosing to go to free agency, but anybody who knows and has watched Benson Henderson, he's durable. It's really hard to look good against Benson Henderson in a lot of ways, because you never really get him hurt. He never looks bad. He always has that stoic look on his face.
You're not going to break him.
There's nothing going on. It's almost like he's just hanging out, doing nothing in there. So I was just, quite frankly, very nervous that I was, even if I won, I was confident I was going to win, but I thought I might have had a lackluster performance against a guy who just you can never look good against.
Yeah, it's tough to look good against him. You're talking about a Hall of Famer, man.
Yeah.
And Benson Henderson's a freaking savage. Little story about Benson Henderson, and we'll start the fight. When I was first, when I decided to try MMA, I just looked up my local, this is in Denver, I looked up my local jiu-jitsu gym.
Yeah.
And so it's my first, I was in my car, I'm like, God, I want to do this. And I was selling supplements door to door, like Pursuit of Happiness style. And I'm sitting in my car, I'm like, do I really want to do this? And I was like, let's just try it out. So I go, and there's a gentleman behind me. I hold the door open, and I go, what's up, man? He goes, what's up? And I go, oh, it's my first day. He goes, oh, cool, yeah, it's like my second. And I go, oh, what are you doing? He goes, plans to make to the UFC. I go, shit, me too, man. What's your name? He goes, Benson Henderson.
What?
Yep.
In Colorado?
In Colorado.
Before he moved to Arizona?
Yeah, his coach was John Crouch.
John
Crouch, yeah. And his gym, they started in Denver.
And they moved to Arizona.
And his wrestling coach, Lester Bowling, was my head coach.
Oh,
Years later, we were all it was all intertwined, man.
Wow.
But I've always loved Benson Henderson.
Yeah, because Bowling stayed out in Colorado.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's out there. He was he helped out the University of Northern Colorado program, and he's the one who brought Gaethje in the mixed martial arts, and with Trevor Whitman, stuff like that. Wow. So yeah, those are my guys.
Man, that's crazy. Second
Isn't that
day.
Crazy?
Benson Henderson's second day at the gym.
He was like, go, let's get the UFC. I'm like, me too. I mean, I think even Hollywood's like, what's the goal? To be Brad Pitt. It's like, me too. And nobody, they're like serving Starbucks now.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Both are
that is nuts.
UFC, we both made it to the UFC.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Never but then I went to that gym, and then there was no heavyweights, and then I navigated towards another gym in Aurora, Nate Burkhart's gym, because there's a heavyweight Shane Carwin there. But that was my first experience. So shout out to Benson Henderson. I love that dude.
Legend.
So this fight for you, a lot of people, more pressure than ever on this one.
More pressure than ever, and it was also a weird time. This was a weird time in mixed martial arts where the pandemic hits. Bellator, the UFC started about 2 months before. Finally, I think they had their first fight in May. This fight was in August after the pandemic hit. So it was just a weird time where everything was up in the air. So the rest of my career was kind of up in the air because I couldn't get this last fight. And did
you feel more pressure than ever going into this?
Yeah, mainly because, obviously I chose to go into free agency.
You're banking on yourself.
Banking on myself,
Scary.
betting on myself against a guy like Benson Henderson. The fight before this, when we had fought, I beat him. It was a split decision. Had a bad fifth round. Obviously, you're fighting Benson Henderson. It's just it's
tough to look good against him, man.
It's really hard. So.
All right, let's hit it, man. Let's check this out. So in this fight, a lot of pressure, but you're still Mike Chandler out there, man.
Yeah. And so once again, I wanted to get in his face right away. We knew he was going to throw those hard left kicks. I hit him with a lot of right kicks in the first fight. Banged up his arms a lot. Hit him to the body a couple times. So I just wanted to put the pressure on him right away. But he's always kind of pawing, and he's really good at managing distance.
Yeah, what makes Ben very special is his fight IQ.
Yep.
And he's pretty good at everything.
Everything.
And you're just not going to break.
He's not spectacular anywhere, but he's really good everywhere.
Those guys but what makes him I think elite is his mentality.
And his leather skin. His skin does
yeah.
not show. I mean, that
No
first
damage.
fight, I hit him with at my whole entire arsenal on his face, and didn't have a scratch, didn't have any swelling, nothing. By the way, that right hook that he just threw, my left rib over here still hurts a year and a half later.
Oh, wow.
And I've had it worked on. It wasn't a broken rib or anything, and maybe it was. I don't know.
I mean, you basically got a tattoo
Yeah.
from Benson Henderson.
Basically,
it's just
it
there
has
for
not
your
gone
ribs
away.
are gonna hurt
Yeah.
for the rest of your life.
But the one kind of thing that was going on in this fight, myself and Henry Hooft were doing a lot of stuff. We were switching stances. We throw a right hand, step forward with the right foot, and switch to southpaw. Right here, I've switched to southpaw. That was the second time I've done it now in the fight, and then that's how the fight ends. I eventually hit him with a throw the right hand, I throw a right kick, step through into a southpaw, and put myself into a southpaw position and drop him originally with the left.
And that was the kind of the crinkle that you brought into crinkle into this fight just to mix it up.
Yeah, and me and Henry have been working out. There it is again, the kind of the stance switch.
Oof.
I hit him with another one. So I guess there was three or four times that it happens. But that's how training is though too. Here's the right kick, switch, stance. Oh no. So I did that.
You're setting it
once.
up though. Yeah.
And it's one of those shin hurt right there big time.
I bet.
But we were doing a lot of that. And a lot of times you train stuff and it doesn't come out for a while. Straight left.
Ooh.
And then it was that punch right there where it looks like even the guys in the booth were like, it looked like he didn't hit him, but I hit him basically right on top of the head. And that was what kind of put him out.
And that's power.
This was
That's power.
I guess.
Brother. That is power.
I guess.
I mean, I'd rather get finished like you finished Benson than the way you finished Hooker, which I find extremely disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
But that one's terrible. But, you know, he's pretty shook up, man. That's how much
Yeah.
power you have, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then how happy you're.
This
I've
was-
been there, man. When I fought Mitrione, like, the UFC wanted me to sign a new 6-fight deal, and I was like, no, let me win this one and then negotiate. And then all my sponsors were all predicated off me winning that fight to
Yeah.
re-sign. So it's like so much pressure, man.
Yeah.
And I felt so relieved. Did you just, when this fight over, you're like, oh, thank God.
This
dude.
was the most relief I've ever had since I lost
Boom.
I lost 3 fights in a row, and then I won my I finally got back on the winning track. That was the second most relief I've ever had in my entire life.
Because think about that, dude. That hit him straight on the jaw.
Yeah, so this
Whoop.
one was straight on the jaw.
Boom!
And it caught
That
his
was
shoulder.
kind of like a little bit of a.
And then this one was on top of the head. Bink.
Oh, that
kind of just gave
yeah,
him
because
the
he was
old-
all right, and that one on the top of the head is what shut the
Give him
lights
the
out.
old C-spine.
Yep.
C-spine shake up.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I
Dan
think.
jumps in.
Yeah, you just have to feel such a sense of relief. And
Right
then,
there, dude. That's the big hug. Like, dang, just hold me.
It worked.
Hold me,
It
Henry.
worked. We did
Just
it.
hold me. Yeah, it's like
We did it. Because think about it, dude. You know, you lost fights before that. You lose this one. Free agency is going to be pretty tough. You don't have a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
lot of negotiating power.
Or even a lackluster performance. I mean,
Agreed.
the UFC is going to use that against you. Hey, Benson, we cut him years ago, and you barely
Agreed.
beat him the first time. The second time, you didn't look that great. I mean, and that's nothing against the UFC. It's business. It's negotiations. It's part
Very
of
business. Let's take a little break from breaking down some of Michael Chandler's amazing fights because, man, online shopping isn't slowing down anytime soon. The pandemic's slowing down, but online shopping is booming, and you need to keep your business ready to go. It needs to keep up with the pace. And my friends at ShipStation got you covered, man. You never have to worry about shipping ever again. Make the switch to a solution that handles all your shipping needs quickly. It's affordable. It's painless. ShipStation is already trusted by over 100,000 e-commerce sellers. Keep track of orders from any sales channel. Easily find the best shipping and carrier with deeply discounted rates. Deep, man. Save time by funneling all your orders in one simple interface, no matter what you're selling. Manage every order, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, your own website. Like a lot of my friends do. They're doing their merch. They're doing whatever, man. It's their own website, and they're using ShipStation to get it to you on time. Save money as well when you compare carrier options and choose the best shipping solution every single time. Save your sanity knowing your orders are handled and you're getting the best rates possible. All right, no wonder 98% of companies that use ShipStation for a year keep using it for as long as they're in business, and it's that good. ShipStation, man. Ship more in less time with ShipStation. ShipStation. Use my code SCHAUB, SCHAUB, to get a 60-day free trial. That's 2 months free of no hassle, stress-free shipping. Just go to ShipStation.com, click on the microphone at the top of the page, type in SCHAUB, SCHAUB, ShipStation. Make ship happen. Now let's get back to Michael Chandler.
This is a
So
UFC
this
debut.
your UFC debut here against Dan Hooker, who huge fan of the Hangman. Hooker is a nightmare. We have a mutual friend in Will Compton who's out in Nashville, played for the Raiders, played for Tennessee for a long time. Will, he's not an expert in MMA, and always for your fights, you go, all right, how do you think this one going down? And I told him, I said, I got to be honest, man. Out of all the matchups, I'm not stoked they gave him Dan Hooker.
Trust
first.
me, I felt the same way.
I
didn't tell
out
my
of all
wife
the guys,
that.
I was
I
not.
didn't tell anybody that, but I was
They're not
like,
doing
all
many
right.
favors.
Well, the
that's,
fight.
that's exactly. I told Combat,
Yeah.
I go, they're not doing many favors. Like Hooker is a savage.
Well, because
man.
you got to lay the groundwork too. The fight before this, Dustin Poirier and him fought to a 25-minute war. And there was a couple times where he hurt Dustin
Correct.
Poirier. And Dustin Poirier was the number 1 guy in the world at that time, or number 2 guy in the world. So I knew it, and he poses a lot of problems. He's freaking. He's listed at 6'1". He felt like he was 6'4".
Sure.
I'm standing there at the weigh-ins looking up at him like,
He's
whoa, what did I
huge.
get myself
And
into?
he's also a guy. His mentality, like he has that championship mentality.
He does.
You're not breaking Dan
No,
Hooker.
you ain't breaking that
He's
kiwi.
you keep finding these fucking dudes that don't break at
No.
your level. That's what you get.
Yes.
But Dan Hooker, you're not going to scare him. Can bully him. You're not going to scare him. And then also, it's like he's just a tough customer. Like he's long, he's gangly, So
And he's good.
I didn't love this fight for you. So as far as pressure wise, obviously Benson Henderson, insane.
Yeah.
The entire trajectory of your career is based off when that fight. A lot of pressure. First UFC fight, and it's a Conor McGregor fight.
Co-main event on a huge pay-per-view.
Big boy.
To be honest, I didn't feel a lot of pressure in this fight, and that's when I knew that I had made the right decision.
Oh wow. You didn't feel like you had anything to prove to the fans, stuff like that?
I think I did.
I think I don't mean to interrupt you. I think you're the face of Bellator for a long time, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it justified Scott Coker and Bellator, you coming over getting a huge win. You know what I'm saying? Because they're rooting for you. They don't want you to leave and then just get your ass kicked in the UFC because it makes their brand look bad.
Yep.
So I think you have the pressure of saying, hey, yeah, Bellator guys are pretty fucking good, man. I was a world champion there for a reason. And then also you're representing so much from that other organization coming with the UFC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I felt like there'd be a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, I mean, there should. When you lay out the laundry list of reasons why there should be pressure, it
you were
makes
good.
sense. But I was good. For some reason, I had made peace with, I knew that I made the right decision. I knew I was right where I was supposed to be, right there in Abu Dhabi, January 23rd. I knew I was right where I was supposed to
And
be.
also, even your demeanor. Like,
Yeah.
you came out, like, I don't think I've ever seen you that way, man. You looked just happy.
I was
You looked
happy and
man.
focused. This was the happiest moment of my career.
Oh, damn.
Walking out to this fight because when you take it back to, I made a decision not a lot of people would have the courage to make. And I don't say that to pump my own ego. I just think I think so many people in life we play it safe and we're too afraid to take that leap and stand on the edge of discomfort and really virtual uncertainty. I have no idea what was going to happen. This could be my first loss in the UFC, and then the next fight I go 0-2, and then I get cut, and then the rest of my career is what it is.
Agreed, but you also know too from previous kind of experience in the history with the UFC, when you come from another organization, especially when you're a world champ, you're not getting those warm up fights, man.
Yeah.
Like they want to, you're gonna sink or swim right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
And
Which luckily that's
again,
what I
didn't-
wanted.
Yeah, I want.
But-
I just being your friend, I didn't like
I
the
didn't
Dan
either.
Hooker fight.
I didn't either. I
was
didn't
like,
tell anybody, but I
fuck.
That's why I hated the fight.
I told Will, I'm like, not crazy about it, man.
Yeah.
He goes, you bet? I'm like, but I don't like it, man.
Yeah.
And Will's like, oh, thanks for nothing,
Yeah,
dude. So
exactly.
Yeah,
What a
hit
vote of
it,
confidence.
man. But this, you just look like you're in your element, man.
I was, man, and it was just there was something. It was the only way I can describe it is I was right where I needed to be. Dan is, you can already see obviously the height difference, and I already fight pretty long, wide leg stance, shorter, but get in his face. I knew those leg kicks were going to come. I was able to check most of them.
The plan was to close the distance, I assume, and not let him, use his range and movement.
Yes, and that was a thing. That was a thing too. Everyone said Dan Hooker's going to knee me, knee my chin into the
he was
first
very
round.
good with knees.
And actually, jacked up my jaw really bad in this training camp. A guy named Bobby Casal hit me with a knee. I'll show you a video after this. Hit me with a knee
camp?
straight up the middle
upon.
in training camp.
Frowned upon. But.
Yeah, talk about a vote of confidence where I'm like, okay, Dan Hooker really is going to knee me, knock me out.
I mean, he is known for his freaking knees.
You know,
so here you're just because he's rangy, so you're trying to close the distance, but
and a lot of level changes and feints.
Keep them guessing.
How you
feints.
Is how you want to bring out a lot of the stuff, and you're starting to see some of his attacks. He's not throwing a lot with his hands. He really only threw a lot of kicks. He's switching stances a little bit.
He's feeling you out, trying to keep you at bay, and then you just explode on homeboy.
Yeah. I mean, we went to the right hand of the body, and I did kind of. There was a little bit of
frustrated.
Yeah, a little bit of like, okay, we're just going to circle here, but also I know I'm winning the fight if I'm closing the distance. You know, or at least I'm winning the battle between the ears. And that was the first right hand of the body that we saw.
So you're figuring out your distance there, and then it comes.
There it is.
A lot of level changes and going to the body.
Yep.
Because you're going to go upstairs. I'm assuming you're just setting them up for that big right
hand. Yeah, and just I wanted to work the body. I mean, if I can hit guys with the right hand of the body, it takes a lot out of them. Here's another one. It was kind of a feint to a right overhand.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of he's just circling, you know, trying to. He knows your power is an issue.
Yeah, and each time he kind of switches stances, of course, it changes up my rhythm, makes me have to think a little bit to the body again.
Oh, here we go.
And then I just kind of start to get, this is where
you land on the body, and then
there was the first one of the head.
You're so aggressive, man.
That was when the tide shifted right there, big time. That kick to the body there.
Meaning.
Just as far as,
mentally?
I think mentally he's like, okay, now this, little short, stocky wrestler just front kick teeped me into the body.
Correct.
That was a leg kick that actually landed, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to let that happen again. I'm going to get in your face even more. Level change, right hand of the body, left overhand.
Oh, God.
So,
dog.
And then I almost went for the choke there, but luckily I
veteran move.
Came out and just started going to the back of the ear, and then I've never done a backflip off the cage in my entire life.
Very Justin Gaethje.
Very Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, very Justin Gaethje.
Very stupid of me because I'd never practiced that in my entire life. Decided to do it in front of the biggest audience I've ever had in my entire life. So
there's a guy named Johnny Walker who was also like, ever seen The Worm? Check this out. I'm a budding prospect. Let me show you The Worm, and then blows the shoulder out. Has never been the same since.
Yeah, it was bad.
Love the American flag.
Yeah, it was.
You got to feel so good, man.
This was the most satisfying win from a hyped up perspective. Not as much of the pressure coming off, but just I knew it. I was like, almost like, good job. You did what you took a chance, and it worked out well for you, because there's nothing better than that satisfaction.
Huge payoff.
When you take a chance. Yeah,
and I also think for UFC fans who they're familiar with you with your work in Bellator, be like, all right, let's see what this guy's all about, and then you get this this crazy KO over Dan Hooker. You got the American flag.
Got the American flag. We're in front of like 2,000 people in Abu Dhabi, and I'm jumping up on the cage like I have a bunch of fans there, but I really don't, because it's Abu Dhabi, I'm from America. Yeah, so that right hand of the body kind of shift, overhand left, kind of like a left hook, but I did switch stances right there.
But it was all set up with the body shots, man. You kept going back to the well there, and then
and then with the level changes and stuff too, I saw him start to. I saw his
hands start to come down.
He saw his hands start to come down to defend the takedown, because I mean the only way that most people would say that I beat Dan Hooker, I'm not going to beat him in a striking match. I needed to take him down, but
look at DC.
Yeah, DC.
Huge.
This was great.
First time ever.
Pretty
legit though, dude.
Full send.
You've never done a backflip like that?
Not off the cage, no. I've done a lot on the ground, from the ground to the ground. So I don't know why I did it, but I did.
And I'm assuming that combination is the Henry Hoof specialty.
It's something that we've worked on a lot.
He's a genius, huh?
He's a genius, and it's very simple. Even though that looked cool, most of the time when things look cool, you think, well, it must be very intricate. All of his stuff is just so simple, and it works really well for me. I've fought and trained in some systems that were just a little bit too intricate. Like for me,
it's tough simple to do. When the bullets are flying, it's tough.
Simple stuff wins. I mean, most of the time, when you see 90-something% of the knockouts, it's
usually the meat and potatoes.
It's the meat and potatoes.
You get a few spinning back kicks and all that shit, but it's usually the jab, the right hand, the body, the hooks. It's the meat and potatoes.
Exactly. And I'm the kind of guy where I need to keep it as simple as possible in order to be as effective as I possibly can be.
I also
And that's
think
why it
with
works
your
really well.
athletic ability and your power, like you don't need to do all that crazy shit.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that's true too. I think, and that's part of why I love putting pressure on guys, because when not only do they feel my presence and they feel my pressure, then all of a sudden they feel the power.
Correct.
So now it's second guessing themselves 3 different times, 3 different ways, and then you start to take them out of their game plan, where they start to think, okay, I had an idea of who this guy was when I was going to fight him, but I didn't quite realize how fast and powerful and how much pressure he was going to put on me right away. So it starts to make them change their mentality right from the get-go.
I think what else you have going for you before we get to the Charles Oliveira fight, mainly all your fights, especially in the UFC, have been, it's all about your stand-up. It's power, your powerful right hand, stuff like that. You can fucking wrestle, man,
Yeah.
grapple.
I haven't shown
you
that
just
yet.
chose not to.
Yeah.
So
I
like
will
in the
say-
Gaethje fight, I'm like, if he doesn't shoot a double, I'm gonna freak
I know.
the fuck out.
I will tell you this right now. I never, of course, yes, I did start chasing the knockout and started chasing the big shots and got a little bit ahead of myself being at Madison Square Garden fighting Justin Gaethje, wanting to get into a brawl. But there wasn't as many times as you would think there was openings to get the takedown. The way Justin Gaethje closes his eyes, puts his head down, and swings overhand, brings his hips really far back, and there's a barrier in between you and him. His head is between you, his hands, his arms, and his hips are way back behind him. So he's never in a great position to get taken down, and I think that's why he doesn't get taken down a lot.
I agree with that, and then I also, the thing about Justin Gaethje, again, I knew Justin when he was in college, just wrestling, came over to a grudge training system and just was this banshee, man. Everyone was like, gee, who is this kid?
Yeah.
He just had wrestling, but his hips are insane,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, he's fast. He's
special.
He
dude.
doesn't have a lot of crazy fluid athletic movements, but his ability to move his hips back, like very strong hips, and that's just years and years of being on a wrestling mat too. The hip awareness, the body awareness.
Yep.
You know?
One thing is, man, when you're watching this show, Flashback Fight Nights, Fight Companion, Fighting a Kid, King the Sting in the Wing, Food Truck, whatever it is, your boy's on Kratom. Kratom is my limitless pill. Listen, I fired up all freaking day. Stand up, podcast, whatever it is, your boy's on Kratom. The secret's out, man. That's my secret weapon. It's Kratom, and I need all the help I can get. You listeners know this, and viewers. It's the best focus product I've ever used. Best part, it's all natural. Visit happyhippoherbals.com. Use promo code ThiccBoy for 20% off for life. Use that code as many times as you want. Visit happyhippoherbals.com. Use promo code ThiccBoy for 20% off for life. So, you get the Dan Hooker, the huge knockout. Everybody knows your name. You're getting notoriety. Your following's flying through the roof. And then you get the title shot here against Charles Oliveira, which I thought going into the fight, the way the UFC works, especially at the upper echelon, it's about styles. The fifth guy could beat the number 1 guy, but the fifth guy can't beat the number 4 guy. It's all about style matchups.
Yep.
I thought this was actually an easier fight for you than a Gaethje or a Dustin Poirier. I thought Charles Oliveira was an easier fight, and you proved me. I said that on my show, and you proved me correct in the first round.
Yep.
Where again, if this goes on 20 seconds longer, you're world champ.
Yeah, or if there was a different referee, not to say that the ref did anything wrong, but as we see, there could be a different referee inside these different stoppages. And one guy, because that's the hardest job in the entire world. Being a referee is the hardest job in the entire world.
I beg to differ.
Really?
It's challenging. Yeah, I
to
feel
make
like brain
split
surgeon
sessions-
be tough.
Well, I mean there's things like that.
Firefighter, Navy SEAL.
No, I get
so
it. But
I don't. When people
as
go, it's
far
the
as-
toughest job in the world, I'm like,
But as far as split-second decision making, and then once you make that decision, you
gotta
have
stick
a
with it?
multitude of millions and millions of people just criticizing your decision. You know, it's one of those up there, I would say. Maybe that's just because that's the world I live in. But
no, I mean, fighters say at all times, toughest job in the world. I beg to differ for sure. Just get better at your job.
You're
but then also,
Oh, sorry.
But then also, you look at the judging.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wouldn't want that job. I'm like, I would.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what the? And there's no repercussions. Like nobody gets held to a standard. Refs do a little bit because they're such a familiar face, you know.
Yeah.
So we get the
True.
refs become celebrities, and then online they get annihilated sometimes. So they deal with it a little bit. For the most part, they get it right. Like I agree, it is a tough job, but the toughest. Let's be This would be cool. But
Okay.
I do think, for the most part, they do have to be held responsible, and they are.
Yeah.
And usually they make good decisions. Sometimes, so many fights they make bad decisions. But the judging, to me, is a much bigger issue.
Judging was really bad. Even,
I hate how we
sit
all
here-
accept it. How everyone goes, that's part of MMA. It's like,
Well-
dude, because in the NFL, in the Raiders-Cincinnati game, they made a horrible mistake. You know what the NFL did? They pulled all those referees and went, you guys aren't refereeing during the playoffs. It's too big of a deal.
Well, and
they got suspended.
Well, and that's the way it should be too. I mean, the fact that there's no repercussions, or even, it would be nice if there was a public hearing where we could see, as we sit here today, when you look at fights last weekend, Sean Strickland versus Hermanson,
Yes.
and Sal D'Amato judged the fight for Jack Hermanson.
He should be suspended for 6 months.
Or he should at least be sat there in front of a public forum live
Explain
on
himself.
YouTube for him to explain himself, and for the media or fighters or coaches or whoever to ask him questions to see what is going through his head, because only through information of understanding how he saw that fight for Jack Hermanson can we glean the information to make our decisions on how we should still fight.
I don't know how you can argue that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd love to hear his argument, but again, they're not held accountable.
No.
And that should be a 6 month suspension.
It is, and I'm afraid to even sit here and talk about him or say his name, because he could be my judge, and you don't want to think it's subjective. You don't want to think that there could be any kind of bias, but it is. It is kind of crazy. Or even some of these boxing refs who come over and and you're just
got me started boxing.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
talking about straight corrupt.
well, but I'm saying that, but also like they only knew boxing, and then all of a sudden they come over and they start judging mixed martial
It's insane,
arts.
but it's just so insane. As a UFC fan, we just go, that's part of MMA. It's like, what? It's
That's
fucking
hard.
2022, man.
It is,
and
and
like
it's-
these
and
guys'
it's people's
paychecks, like
livelihood.
exactly.
It's your
and then
whole
also
life.
like, although the UFC is more forgiving, but it's like if you lose a fight, man, you go back.
Yeah.
You got to go back in the queue, and it's so just to get a title shot is damn near impossible in the UFC. At 155 pounds,
Yeah.
you know how much of a badass you have to be to get a fucking title shot.
Yeah.
And then you got this ref who might fuck it up for you.
Yeah.
Come on, Sal. I think it's CT. All right, let's hit this Charles Oliveira fight. Love this for you. I thought you were a nightmare of a matchup for him. I still
Yeah.
believe that. I think you guys fight again.
I
Going
agree.
to this
I
fight,
think-
you'll get a title shot. Obviously, you've been a world champion before, so it's not unfamiliar territory.
Mm-hmm.
He does, I know it's the narrative. He does have the quit gene in him, which I liked, especially before you go in this fight. And dude, you came out like a banshee, and obviously no fear. You're pressure, you're aggressive, you're fighting like Michael Chandler, which
Yeah.
some guys change when they get to the big show. But for you, it was just
Yeah, that was
out
right
the
there.
gate.
It was, and that was the same. So you saw the right hand of the body, left hand right there again.
There it is.
So we're kind of
And it's
hitting with
landing.
kind of the same stuff.
And he shot.
He shoots, and I
Filthy guillotine.
yeah, and it was kind of one of those deals where I was like, I'm probably not going to get this, so I'm going to go
You
ahead and
knew,
just,
right? You
I'm
don't
just
wanna
gonna
waste
go
your
ahead
energy.
and kind of fight out of it. I give him my back, which this is when Joe is like, this is a horrible position for Chandler, and of course
That's
this
the
is,
wrestler in you.
Yeah, and I love to give my back. I love to give my back to people because I think I always get out. I always get the one-on-one. I will hold on to this one-on-one now.
You're not worried about getting submitted here.
I'm not. And
what's
this is
crazy
the
to
most
me is
decorated submission artist.
that's what I was
in
going
the
to say.
UFC.
You're talking about a guy who has the most submission bonuses ever.
And maybe that was ignorance on my part. Maybe
Also,
but-
probably the reason why you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like that belief in yourself gets you there.
So I hold this
Dicey
2-on-1.
game to play, but you're doing the baseball bat. What I tell my son whenever someone gets his back,
Baseball,
baseball bat.
This was ill-advised yet entertaining.
Okay.
Okay, so right there, and that's what a lot of people would say too. But I knew down there where he has a figure four, it starts to loosen up, and once if I hold that arm right there, there's not much that he can do. Plus, he's starting to realize that he's getting in a more stuck position or
He's,
a more
he's
loose
bleeding
position.
too now. Do,
Yeah,
you-
I
do you
think-
remember when you cut him? That was
I
good
think I hit
elbow,
him with a
man.
left hook.
Yep.
I'd like to say it was my head that headbutted him on that jump
Oh,
thing.
that
'cause
might be it.
it
You
wasn't.
don't think so?
He was already bleeding before that.
Okay.
It'd be cool if he was though.
Yep.
Even though it's legal.
But if you're a Michael Chandler fan here and you're tuning in, you're like, well, this is worst case scenario. You got the best submission artist of all time in the UFC,
Yeah.
most decorated submission artist. He has a body lock and he has his back.
That's
Like,
one of
this
the
is a
hardest
nightmare.
positions to ever get out of. That when a
Nightmare.
guy with long legs has a figure four, but I get the two on one, and I'm able to athletically just spin out, and I do it in practice all the time. So
You're
it's-
confident there.
I am confident there. It's probably not the best idea, because you could lose a fight or you could sit there a whole round because of it. But from here, now I just kind of smelled blood. You know, I thought
You're going hard in the paint right now.
yeah, I thought he's really starting to second guess himself. So I'm just going for broke. It's in me. I'm like, I think I come down into his guard here in a second.
And I'm surprised you just don't let him up. There you
Oh,
go.
no.
He gets
He
up.
stands up.
And then now it's on.
Which I was happy about. Yeah, because so I was chasing the right hand of the body, and that's where that will eventually be my demise.
Oh, that left
So
hook
that
hit.
right hand with the left
That
hook.
right hook. See, here, you're talking minute 52 left too.
Yeah, I mean,
It's, you know, some refs would stop that.
yeah, and
Is that frustrating for you to watch?
no, not really, because I mean
He is defending there, though.
Yeah, he is. I
Smart
probably wouldn't
veteran
have
move
stopped
on
it.
his part. No, I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Smart veteran move. And also championship fight. I
Yeah.
use a 10 on the side of let them go a little longer so it's
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get annihilated on Twitter if I'm a ref. You know, so I'm like,
Yeah.
let's let him go a little
Yeah.
bit.
And then just from here, I thought he obviously he's a long body and he's a jiu-jitsu guard player, so he's very good at defending, just putting stuff in between yourself and him with his legs, with his arms.
Did you train a lot of that in camp?
I
Were you in
did.
a lot of big time jiu-jitsu, like black belts guards and stuff like that.
Yeah, and just moving guys.
I gotta be honest. I was surprised that this fight was this much on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, I think he realized pretty soon right away that the pressure that I was going to bring, he didn't really want to.
And he shot. He
Yeah.
was the first one to shoot, which surprised me.
And also here, I think he probably thought he was going to maybe catch me in something. I landed a couple of really great elbows.
Really-
Hats
beating the
off
shit
to
out of
him.
him. Yeah,
He's
beating the shit out of
freaking.
him.
You know,
Yeah,
he-
you're being the shit out of him right now. But it's also, you know, I think too for a lot of guys is when they go, oh, Charles Oliveira, he's a black belt.
Yeah.
You know, he's a black belt. I'm like, oh, you think Chandler? You know, it's not his first rodeo, man.
Yeah, it's that black belt turns into a white belt pretty quick, especially after all the.
But also,
the sweat
are you a
and-
black belt too?
I don't even have a belt, beltless.
I mean, if I could award belts, I'd give you a black belt.
Thanks,
I am a
man.
black belt. I don't know how it works exactly, but you know,
Yeah. So here, you know, now it's now I'm in, you know,
You're comfortable.
Now I'm in recovery mode though too. I'm in like there's
So
8
is he, though.
seconds left. Let's just let's end this round, walk away from him. Hopefully he's second guessing himself.
I mean,
Go
the only
back to
reason
the
you
cage.
went the crowd's limit, the only reason
Yeah.
when you give that 10-8 rounds, because he had the body lock,
Mm-hmm.
right? He had your back. Definitely a 10-9 for, let's say 10-9. 10-9's fair there.
Yeah.
Definitely won that round. Wobbled him. Probably better they didn't stop it early. I mean, I wish
Yeah.
they did, being your friend, but, you
No,
know,
of course, yeah. It's like that'd be nice.
that'd be great.
That leg kick got me, but it's all right.
Is
get back
that
up.
the same leg kick that hurt you
The
in
low
Bellator?
The low leg kick.
With Homeboy?
The low leg kicks are always the
Yeah.
worst. Yeah, that was the.
Good shot by him. Good timing
good
by
shot.
him. God, dude, and that guillotine's pretty deep.
that right there.
Boom. Yeah, his
Worked out
eye
well.
was bleeding before.
That was that left hook. Yeah, I was throwing a lot of right hands to the body, left hooks.
Boom,
That
right
was
behind the head there.
ear.
Boom. Then that
The funny thing is, when I knocked down Dan Hooker, I went for the choke and then decided
You're smart
to go
about it,
against
yep.
the punches. But with this one, I actually wish I would have went for the guillotine. He's got a longer, skinnier neck to at least kind of go no arm in, the kind of a naked guillotine. I wish I would
In
have at least.
hindsight?
In hindsight, I would have. Wish I would have. But it's hindsight. It's
and then
2020.
Agree. And then I thought, you know, after a round like that, like Charles,
Boom,
he's-
right there.
oof.
Came out, went right hand to the body with didn't have my hand up. Really bad decision, bad technique, and then that was the beginning of the end right there. That was a legitimate stoppage. Charles Oliveira, your lightweight champion.
Yeah, man, he's a beast. This moment, do you realize what's going on? You realize you lost the championship, or you're a little out of it?
Yeah, no, I remember being there. I remember Dan being in front of me, and I remember seeing his yellow shorts because they stick out like a sore thumb. I remember seeing his yellow shorts run across and him jump over the cage. And
Nothing
you're
worse.
just
Like, God damn
you're
it.
just like, well, there it went.
Yep.
That was the opportunity of a lifetime.
And kudos to him too, because after that first round, I thought this is going exactly how I predicted.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to come out. He's going to realize Chandler's a different animal. There's that quit gene in him.
Yeah.
I was off, man. He came out and it fired
He
him
did.
up. I think losing that round, I think
Yeah.
that championship mentality came out in him, and he came out ready to go.
For sure, and it continued to show that Charles Oliveira's got some sharp hands. You know, his
Agreed.
Muay Thai, his kickboxing is a lot sharper than a lot of people have given him credit for. You know, I think, but the biggest thing is just the overarching feeling that since making the decision to go to the UFC, knocking out Benson Henderson, coming in, knocking out Dan Hooker, and then getting the title shot. Like, I thought that was my moment. I was like, you couldn't have scripted this thing
Agreed.
any better. This is a perfect storybook ending, Cinderella story. This was absolutely perfect. So I think whenever all that, I was 100% confident that I was going to be the champion that night because it all worked out so perfectly. You couldn't have scripted it any better. And then all of a sudden it doesn't. So it was almost just, it was confusion mixed with obviously, tears and
That's the fight
sadness.
business, isn't it?
So it's just, it's a crazy, crazy sport, but that's why we love it. I mean, I can sit here and watch this and somehow still be happy that Charles Oliveira, this kid from the favelas of Brazil,
Great story.
who had a really up and down kind of spotty career, couldn't really be relied upon. And
I don't think 6 years ago you would say, that guy's gonna be a dominant world
the guy
champion.
couldn't even make weight.
Yeah, it has
half
so
the
many
time,
issues, man,
I
yeah.
cornered Miles Jury whenever he fought Charles Oliveira. Charles didn't make weight, and I just remember that was the day that I was like, I don't like this guy.
Yep.
So it was kind of years later. It was almost somewhat of a revenge too. I was like, this guy doesn't deserve to be fighting for the title if he couldn't even make weight miss weight that many times. I've weighed in 100-something times. I've never missed weight. But he's cleaned things up. He's come back as a consummate professional. He's our
Inspirational
champion,
story,
and now he's looking great. So in a weird way, you have a certain amount of respect for every single person that you step into the octagon with, cage with, the mixed martial arts
You have
landscape
to.
with, of course. But even for him, seeing the way he's come back, it's a great story for young kids in Brazil.
Can I get your prediction? We'll end on this. Well, I have one more question, but we'll end on this. Prediction for Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, championship fight.
Man, my heart says Gaethje. I think I want Gaethje. I think Gaethje. I'd like to see Gaethje win that title. But man, I'm telling you, I think Charles Oliveira has more tools. I think Charles has now proven himself that he's tougher than we thought.
Agree.
I don't think he's going to be able to take Justin down as easily as he thinks he's going to.
No.
Case in point for me.
Yes.
But I think Charles gets the nod in that one. I do.
Interesting.
Which
I
is
mean,
weird.
I see it going either way. I think for Justin, again, I still think, to me, and I know it's crazy to say, the jury's still out for me on Charles Oliveira. Even after seeing that, I do like how he responded. Obviously, this. You've been in there. You shared the octagon for 5 rounds with him. Justin Gaethje is just such a different animal.
Yeah.
So it's a great fight.
It is, and Gaethje's got a great chin. I mean, and that's the thing too. You look at, obviously Charles finished me right there, but then I fought Gaethje and took everything Gaethje had,
Nuts.
and he wasn't able to finish me. And I got dropped that one time, but it just goes to show the perfectly timed, perfectly placed shots. Anybody can get knocked out, and that's exactly what Charles did. Put it right on the chin when I wasn't ready for it. It's the shots that you don't see coming that really knock you out.
Agree.
So.
I'm going to make a prediction now. We'll end on this. I think we'll do this again. The next 3 fights we watch will be your next 3 UFC fights. I think it goes Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, and then you fight for the title.
I like that.
And then I think we're going to be here watching it, and you'll be world champ.
At the end of
That's my
at the end
prediction.
of this year.
I'll say by early 2023.
Okay, I like that.
That's my prediction.
That would be a perfect. That would be a perfect little run.
Yep.
I'm down with that.
This was fun.
It was fun. Thank you.
Michael Chandler, everybody.
A little bit of work, man, that don't scare us. I get up, I go hard like I'm George Harris. Make plays, break lanes, push weight, break chains, go hard.